Borderlands 3 is a first-person shooter-looter action role-playing game and is one of the most hyped releases of 2019. My name is Taylor Tefelsky, aka T-Flame, aka T-Flambe. I'm not too picky on what you want to call me, and today I want to be giving you guys a review of if I haven't played a Borderlands before, is this something that I should get into? And if you're like me, I haven't played Borderlands 1, I haven't played Borderlands 2, which I know won a ton of awards, and so what we're gonna be looking is this a game that you can really get into if you haven't played those? And I'm also doing that by giving a game review because I want to give you guys some of the good, some of the pros, some of the cons, what makes this game good, and maybe what holds it back. So to start off, I kind of want to explain my scale, how I'm going to be grading things, and I'm going to do something really unique. You may have never seen this or heard this before on a game review. But what I'm going to be doing is if it's a really bad game that I don't enjoy, it's going to be a 1. Makes sense. And on the other side, it's going to be a 10. All right, if I really like it. Explosion. Amazing, I know. Incredible. But what I want to do a little bit differently is the fact that I'm going to be rating my games based off of playability. And what I mean by playability is, does the game keep me enticed? Does it keep me grasped, wanting to play more, wanting more of it throughout the whole story? And the 1 is going to be if I play 5 minutes and I'm like, okay, okay, I'm ready for the next game. A 10 is I make it through the whole story and I'm like, okay, what is next? What do we have beyond this? What more can I do? Do I even want to play this game again? That's how good it is. And so that's going to be my scale for this. With that being said, let's step into some of the reasons why Borderlands for me, it was a solid game. The first thing that I love about Borderlands is the fact that it is co-op campaign, that you can play the whole thing with a partner, which other games have done this and do this. But something that I like about this is it's a game based off of leveling your items, leveling your player, leveling all of these different things. And normally, if you do that with somebody, they have to be there while you're doing that. Borderlands itself has a scaling system. So let's say I'm a level 25 because I've had more time to play than my friends, and then my friends are maybe a level 10 or 11. We can still go into the same game and I'll face enemies that are level 25 and they'll see enemies that are level 11. So that makes it a really good experience with friends, whether they're new or whether they have played a lot more. To me, that is really enjoyable. The second thing that I really like about it is just simply the amount of things that you can upgrade or the things that you can change and control in this game. Customization, I think, has probably been one of the key things in Borderlands that makes it so good. Obviously, they have those tree skills where you can obviously move things around and do different builds. But on the pro side of that is the fact that you can actually go in and change your tree skill at any time. And it costs a little bit of in-game money, but you don't have to go and make a whole new loadout to do that. Guns on the other side, amazing the different things. I can have the same model gun with different attributes and it feels like a totally different gun. And all of these things combined together with how you can customize your character creates a really optimal game where you can control a lot of the aspects and really make it a unique experience and play it multiple times different ways. And the third thing for me is just simply what I think draws people to Borderlands is the absolute chaos. It is madness sometimes. The fights that you're in, all of the things that your guns are doing, having to switch, throwing nades, using your abilities, all the opponents and AI doing the same thing. The absolute chaos that Borderlands bring is what kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat, always wanting that next fight. And it doesn't take you that long to get. There's enemies on the side, there's main storylines, and that's all really important in what makes Borderlands Borderlands. Now, those are some of the positives, some of the pros that really drew me to play through the whole game. First weekend, 35 hours in 3 days. It was amazing. I enjoyed it. But it also had some setbacks, and that's what I want to look at now. The things that kind of made me sometimes just want to hop off and play a different game or go get something to eat. And the first thing that I can think of is this really strange thing that they do at the very start of the game, and it has to do with one of the main characters, Lilith. Now, Lilith is a siren, has these magical abilities, and has these things that other people can't do. And how it introduces Lilith is this voice in your head, but also this image on the screen. The closest thing I can compare it to would be Cortana from Halo 3, which I thought was cool, but the way they do it in Borderlands 3 is like it's really cringy. To give you an example, it's basically this picture, a realistic picture of Lilith, and she's just staring into the camera, blinking. And beyond that, then it zooms in even more, and it's just so awkward. I want you guys to actually see my first experience of this. Roll the clip. Nice one.
Someone survived the attack.
Who's that?
I'm
Oh, they
Lily.
look so
Oh my goodness.
Those bandits you fought are part of a cult hunting for the
Imagine this chick making this video. You know, she just stared at the camera and smiled.
For now, my scout is waiting for you up ahead.
Blinked into this. The whole time my hands were up every time this came up, because it's not just at the start. This actually happens throughout the game. Each time I'm like, my hands up, I'm like, why? Like, who thought this was a good idea? And it just keeps happening. It's just one of those things. It's a small thing. It just gets under your skin, and it happens the whole game. Not the biggest thing to complain about, but it definitely kind of irks me, and I'm just like, just stop. Just stop. And the next thing for me, getting to a little bit more of a serious issue I saw in the game, was simply the bosses, or the end game bosses, and how not difficult they were. For the final boss, the two people that the game is saying are these bosses that are actually, like, they're gonna be stronger than the stars. They're gonna soak up this energy from this vault and become these all-powerful beings, stronger than anything before. And they've already acquired quite a bit of power, and you get to the end game to stop them from reaching that final moment. And I think me and my buddy, it took us about 5 minutes to beat the boss, right? These two people that were supposed to be so powerful, and to me, that was just not enjoyable. It was just a buzzkill. And some of the other bosses were very similar. Now, I'm not going to say all the bosses were easy, because there were ones that I had complications with that wasn't easy, and that's how I wanted these final bosses to be. But instead, I was jumping, I was shooting, took 5 minutes, and it was too simple. I would have loved for it to be, okay, die a bunch of times so I can understand the skills that they have, you know, maybe the different moves, how can I avoid them, maybe what guns, since there's so much customization, what guns are more useful against these bosses. And to me, the end game of the main story did not have that. Some of the other bosses did not have that. And for there to be such a buildup around this, and to be flat, it really lost me there. Now, that being said, I am beyond excited to do raiding bosses after the main story of the game. There's still a lot to be offered, but for me, that was a big notch down. And finally, the third thing that I think really held this game back for me is that when I play a game, I like there to be a sense of progress. I like to be working towards something, whether it's with the story, or whether it's with, you know, seeing your health at the start of the game be 100, by the end, you know, it's like 6,000, or, you know, all these things. I'm making progress. And what Borderlands seemed to do with some of their story is just simply, in order for you to take one step forward, they make you take a step back, and it's really awkward, and it feels like they're just putting in these things so you can play more of the game, or they say this game has this amount of game or in-game content. For example, one of the final things we have to do is you have to go to this base where the bosses are, and you know they send you on a mission to drive there. So you go to the planet, you drive there, but when you go there, they're like, oh, hold on a second. They have turrets here with special shields that you actually need to go to this other planet, get a vehicle, get the vehicle back, and now we're gonna go and do the same exact thing. And to me, it's like, just put that at the start of the mission, right? This wasn't too far from where people just tell me at the start of the mission, okay, we need to go get equipped. We need to be ready for everything that these guys have to throw at us. Don't make me go in there, come back, and then go back. It just seemed unnecessary. Another example, going to fight another boss, and you get to the edge of this bridge, and then missile comes down, blows up the entire bridge. Now, put my hand in my head, because it's become so predictable at this point that they're going to throw in something unnecessary to make the game longer, because all we had to do now is we had to go back around the map to the other side, and it added no value to the story or to that. You fought a couple more minions, but nothing important. And so to me, it was a bunch of those moments built together that kind of created this annoying atmosphere of like, okay, in order for me to go forward, something stupid's going to be thrown in and I have to go all the way around. And to me, that was a buzzkill again. And the final thing,
final thing that I want to say for this game is that it
with all the negatives and the pros, I really enjoyed it. I really did. It was different than the games I play, I've played a lot of first-person shooters, but they're very realistic. I play a lot of competitive games, but to me, this was a really enjoyable experience for me and my friends. It wasn't frustrating. I wasn't getting tilted. It was super enjoyable and a good break and a good change of pace for me as a gamer. And so with that being said, I want to give my final score on playability. Where am I at? 1 over here, 10 over here. I'm going to put it at a 7.4. The 0.4, because it feels good. This game is great. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see the DLC that is added to it, and I'm excited to keep playing the end game where there's more bosses and more things to do. If you buy this game, you are going to get a lot out of it, right? You're going to get every penny worth when you put it in. And so I want to say, go for it. Check it out for yourselves. That's all for the review today, everyone. Have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.
Away. Vault Hunter. Don't let them anywhere near Tannis or that map.
That really bothers me.
End of the road for you.
Yeah, that like image.
Yeah.